morning, little rabbit. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Welcome back to Happy Farm Life. Today is an exciting episode because I am vlogging a trip to Kansas City. But it's not just any trip to Kansas City. I'm actually going to be meeting up with another pharmacy social media person. Her name is Katie. She is the founder of Pharm Fit Go. She is on Instagram. She's also here on YouTube and starting her vlogs right now. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to her channel. But today she's going to be showing me around Kansas City because I was introduced to Katie through Dr. Adam Martin of the Fit Pharmacist, and come to find out she was at my alma mater, which is University of Missouri, Kansas City. But whenever I was in pharmacy school, I actually didn't get to explore Kansas City very much because I was on a satellite campus in Columbia, Missouri. So I'm going up to visit her today in Kansas City to kind of actually explore Kansas City since I've never had that opportunity before, and I'm taking you guys along with me. So I'm at my grandparents' house right now. I came and said hi to them real quick, and now we're gonna go see Katie. Hello you guys, it is the next day. I got some coffee this morning. It's actually raining. We haven't had rain in a very long time. This will probably get up sometime in the end of July, but at this point it's the beginning of July and we've not had hardly any rain all during June. So even though this is just a little bit of rain and there's like a tiny little green spot on the radar, we're very happy for that. But that's not why I got here to talk to you guys. So I wanted to talk about a topic that I've gotten questions about several times from pharmacy students, and that is social media as a pharmacy student or as a pharmacist, the pros, the cons. As you saw yesterday, I was able to meet Katie, who I met online through social media. We met on Instagram, and I kind of wanted to highlight the benefits of having a professional social media, but also some of the cons that come along with it, because it isn't all sunshine and rainbows over on social media, as you guys know. So I made some notes, so we'll go over those. So the first pro is social media is social. It's a networking tool if you use it correctly. So like in the case of Katie, she is currently a student pharmacist. She got connected to me by another pharmacist on social media, and now she has me as a resource to turn to as she's going through her residency interview process and then going through residency itself, because I've already been there. I've been on the job search. I've been a pediatric pharmacist now. She has just another person that's outside of maybe her current bubble where she works, because she does work at a children's hospital, to reach out and ask questions to. So there have been several people who have used me as a resource whenever they were going through residency interviews or just asking questions that they wouldn't have had otherwise had they not been on social media. This can also turn into connections online that become real life connections, whether that is like Zoom connections where you're having like a real phone call or calling on Instagram. I've done a couple calls with students before, just really quickly if I have the time, which unfortunately as this account grows, I have less and less of that time. But sometimes you can have these very intentional connections like I had with Katie, where we both had days free and I was able to go see her. And you also have connections that can be made whenever you're at conferences or meetings and things like that, and you're talking to these people because you met them somewhere online or on social media. It's kind of like the ice is already broken when you meet somebody at a conference, and that can be like the most awkward part of networking at a conference. So it's like a win-win there, especially if you are not somebody who is great at networking in person. Depending on how you set up your account, you can become an expert in a particular area. So if you want to be an ID pharmacist and you just talk about the things that you learned that are ID related, you become known as a person who is very well versed in infectious disease. That is not me. But I talk about pediatrics and women's health, and so people will ask me those types of questions or ask me about that route in pharmacy because they recognize that that is my specialty area. And because you have these specialty areas or things that you talk about, you can then become open to opportunities professionally in those areas. For me, I have gotten some really, really awesome professional opportunities. I've been told about jobs I wouldn't have known about about. And while I've not taken those, that doesn't mean I won't in the future. You never know what's going to come up. But there are things that I have taken advantage of from the professional opportunity side of things, which include speaking engagements and writing blog posts, being on podcasts. So as far as speaking engagement goes, I do work with a lot of schools. If you've been to one of my speaking engagements before, drop it down in the comments below. I would love to hear who is still watching some of my videos after being at one of those speaking engagements. But I've got to talk to schools all over the country. And not only that, I've also gotten some opportunities at the national level with the American Society of Health System Pharmacists. I talked about medical misinformation on social media there. And I told you guys I had a second really cool opportunity aside from just my new job that I had accepted. And that is actually to speak at the American College of Clinical Pharmacists Global Conference in San Francisco. So I'm getting to go there again, talking about medical misinformation on social media. But I've also got to connect with some really awesome people through podcast episodes or Instagram lives, things like that I would have never had the opportunity to do otherwise. And those are really strengths and have given me the opportunity to improve my speaking skills, get my opportunity to improve my writing skills when I've wrote blog posts or for Student Pharmacist magazine, which again, I wouldn't have had those opportunities had I not been on social media. Also, those speaking engagements and podcast episodes, the writing opportunities, all of those have deepened my connections with those people further, which makes it, again, another networking tool. I do want to point out that with these networking tools, it's not that I've just networked, but it's also that I've used those opportunities. I've reached out to people to help me with my new job, like when I was going through negotiations, how to do that when I've got these speaking engagements, how do I negotiate a speaking engagement, what should I look for in a contract? And so having pharmacists around me that have been there, done that I can reach out to through these connections that I've made has made this process even better. And for me, social media is so much of a creative outlet. I love to edit videos. Right now, I really like the vlog style because I like to set up the shots so I can then edit a certain way. Like I'm gonna put the camera here because I want this angle or that angle. And it just gives my mind a little bit of a break from pharmacy. So depending on how you set up your account, it could definitely be that for you as well. There's also the opportunity for additional income, and I'm going to be completely honest here. I didn't make anything. I lost money for the first few years that I did social media. So this is not something you're going to get instant gratification from, most likely. However, I've made enough money now that it really supports the hobby and has allowed me to keep up with subscriptions. So I have a Canva subscription, a Trello subscription, Epidemic Sound, which is where I get my music from that is copyright free. I have Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use to edit. So all of those things that I pay for monthly are paid for with the money I make from my YouTube videos. I've also upgraded my equipment. So I have a camera and I already had that camera. I was able to buy a new microphone for it. I'm looking to get a gimbal, which is like a stabilizer for my camera. I've been able to get better SD cards and additional batteries and things like that with the money that I have made from YouTube. So while I haven't made a whole bunch and it's not changing my life, it's also allowing me to do YouTube without paying a whole lot of the expenses and the new equipment that I want out of pocket. You also are going to gain new skills that you didn't have before that are actually going to be very valuable to you as a pharmacist depending on your job. So I know how to edit videos. I know how to do graphic design. I know how to use Photoshop now. I have writing skills that I have improved as well. Okay, now for the cons. Social media is time consuming. Being on this phone, making content can take up a good portion of your life, especially if you allow it to. One mistake, and I've been down this road, I've made this mistake myself, is that people will try to jump all in and try to post every single day, all the time, multiple times a day because they saw somebody say that that's what worked for them and they get burned out really quickly. They spend a ton of time on here and not enough time in their personal life. And it's a rabbit hole you just don't want to go down. And there are a lot of ways to manage your time to make social media work for you. For some people, it works better if you batch create content. You don't have to do video content. You can make graphics. You can take photos, just depending on what platform you're on. So finding what works best for your time, what you have time for. When I was a student, I could not make nearly as many YouTube videos as I do now as a working pharmacist who has time off. Heck of a lot more time off than I did when I was a student. There's also a pretty big learning curve for most people who go into social media. So if you've not done classes to learn graphic design software, software or you've never done that type of work before, editing, things like that, then this is going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to take time to learn how to be good at editing. You're going to take time to learn how to use all the tools in Canva or whatever graphic design software you use. You're going to have to take time to learn what things you need to say and how you need to structure a post in order to gain somebody's attention, because people have very short attention spans. As a creator, you're in charge of making sure that you capture those people's attention. So it does take a lot of work to learn that. But like I said, you can then transfer some of these skills to your professional life, not just social media. The next one is negative comments. So this is definitely something that can impact your mental health. I had some really negative comments back at the beginning of the pandemic. People are brutal, especially on certain platforms. Like TikTok was definitely a lot meaner than anybody has ever been to me on YouTube or Instagram. It's just the demographic that's on TikTok and just the vibe over there. So being mindful that you're going to get negative comments, and some of them are just comical. Some people I block because they're just absolutely nasty. You just got to do what's best for your mental health. And I am never afraid to block somebody who's absolutely nasty to me or anybody who follows me and comments on my stuff, because I don't want people who follow me to come into my comment section and expect to get attacked. Like, that's not cool. And then last but not least is imposter syndrome. This happens a ton to new creators and even creators who have been around for a while. Seeing what everybody else is doing and comparing yourself to them. Why are they growing? Why am I not growing? Why can't I make my videos look like that? And you don't see what's going on behind the camera. There are a ton of creators who have help. I currently don't really have a ton of help on my side. I create all of my content by myself. I don't have a team behind me, but I do have equipment that other people don't have. So for example, my husband custom built me a computer that I edit on for like all of my YouTube videos. A lot of people don't have that. I have dual screens that help me do this at a quicker manner. I have an actual camera. I'm not using my phone, which means I can get different shots than other people can. I can interchange the lenses and get different views that somebody who has an iPhone probably can't do. You just don't know what resources somebody else has, and so be aware that you may be comparing yourself to somebody who has an entire team or just thousands of dollars in equipment that you don't have access to, and your content's going to reflect that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody starts at zero. The goal, if you have a professional social media, should not be, oh, I want 1 million followers and to make all of this money. If you want to do that, that's great. That can be your goal. But if you're in pharmacy school or wanting to be a pharmacist, look at all of the non-metric reasons to be on there. The networking opportunities, the professional opportunities, the things that you're going to gain from this that are more than monetary, that are more than your follower account, because that is where the gold is for people who are professionals that are on social media. There are definitely more cons to social media, but those are the big ones that I wanted to hit that I feel like pharmacy people deal with the most, especially that like imposter syndrome, perfectionism situation. So if you guys have more or have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!